What's happening, fantasy world? It's your boy Hatsu coming to you live with our underachievers for week 3. And boy, do we have a lot, and we about to talk about it. Yeah. And our number one player on underachievers had everybody with the stanky leg. Anthony Richardson. Boy, was looking more like Richard Anthony. He could hit a note, but he showing the hell couldn't hit a receiver. Mm, Ended up number 27 overall quarterback in week 3. Who would have thought? 167 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 8 rushes for 24 yards. Piss poor performance. 7.08 points. I'm benching him this week. Got me sick. Lost 2 leagues because of that guy. 2, not 1. Dos. Anthony Richardson, a.k.a. Richard Anthony. Ah, man, get him the hell out of here. And our second player on underachievers, another quarterback, Derek Carr. In the first 2 weeks, Derek Carr was a star and then fell all the way back down to earth. Number 25 quarterback this week in fantasy scoring standard leagues. Derek Carr throws up 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 2 carries for 3 yards, 8.98 fantasy points. David Carr, that man, and they ass lost. Just a bad week, man, for David Carr owners. Hopefully you didn't have him starting. I did in one league, but I'm still winning. I got lucky. It is what it is. David Carr is going to my bench this week. Yo, benched him for Brock Purdy. I'm sick. Yeah. And our number 3 player in underachievers this week, James Conner. More like James conned all y'all ass into thinking he was going to win you a week. And he did not. James Conner, the number 47 overall scoring running back in week number 3. This man had 9 carries for 17 yards, 1 reception for 8 yards, 3 points. 3 points out of James Conner. It was just a bad game for those Cardinals, man. It is what it is. And they took a L. We got to be more careful. And our number 4 player who was on my top 5 starts, and I'm sick. Tony Pollard. More like phony Pollard. Yeah. Tony Pollard gets 6 carries after having 20 plus touches in the first 2 games. You get 6 carries for 14 yards, 3 receptions for 15 yards, and Spears was a non-existent. I just don't understand what's going on over there in Tennessee. I won't be putting him in my lineups next week. I'm sick. The hell's wrong with Tony, man? Phony Pollard. Ends up with 4.4 fantasy points, number 42 running back in week 3. And our number 5 player in underachievers this week, Josh Jacobs. Looked like he got hit with a slug. Josh Jacobs, 14 carries, 43 yards, a reception for 5 yards, 5.3 fantasy points, the number 37 running back. Who saw that one coming? Because Malik Willis had a day. That's what it is, man. It is what it is. Malik Willis had a day. Josh Jacobs took second fiddle. Josh Jacobs took the back seat. It is what it is, man. And our number 6 player on underachievers over there in Detroit, Jameson Williams. Just when we thought you were here to stay. All I hear last week, Phil Yates. All I hear, Stephon Jameson Williams. Oh, he's here to stay. 11 targets, 12 targets. What? And I went and started him. Jameson Williams, number 98 receiver. This man had 1 carry for -7 yards, 1 reception for 9 yards after having 2 big weeks. That's right. And Sam Laporta wasn't even in this game either. I tell you what, Jameson Williams is going to have better days, man. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a huge game. The running game over there in Detroit was just out of control. So I understand, man. It's going to be games like this. I still am positive in Jameson Williams. I'm just not going to put him in my starting lineup next week. And our number 7 player that was on my start list, like, you guys must start this guy. And I apologize to my fans, man. Calvin Ridley, man. Calvin Ridley done gone fishing. Man, this man had 1 reception for 9 yards. 1 reception out of Calvin Ridley. In 2 weeks, last week, that man went off. Listen, 2.9 fantasy points from Calvin Ridley this week. He was the number 75 receiver off the board. Man, that's a wide receiver 7. That man was a wide receiver 8 this week. Could have been on your benches, man. Shit. Could have been on the waiver wire. You'd have picked him up and been sick. It just is what it is. And our number 8 player for underachievers this week. Mike Evans. Mike Evans, you should be ashamed of yourself at home. Them Buck fans was rolling over in their grave in that pirate ship. Yeah. Man, Mike Evans, 2 receptions, 17 yards, 4.7 fantasy points at home. That's what you doing? Baker Mayfield looking like a shell of himself. Them Bucks got their ass kicked. Yeah. There will be better days for Mike Evans, man. Big game Mike, man. You lost me my week. And our number 9 player for underachievers this week was Trey McBride. That's right, the tight over there with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray didn't have a big game. The passes he was getting off showing the hell wasn't going to McBride. Goodbye, Trey. Trey had 3 receptions, 25 yards, 5.5 fantasy points. When you started him, you was not foreseeing that type of production. He was number 20 overall tight end in fantasy scoring this week. Got to be more careful. And our last player on underachievers, and yes, he did underachieve, was Sam Laporta. And I told everybody to bench this guy this week. He was on my top benches this week. And he should have been. And I hope you listen to me. That man had 5.6 fantasy points, 2 receptions, 36 yards. Sam Laporta was too busy this week blocking for Montgomery and Gibbs. I hope y'all went on that top 5 sits this week and listened to Hasu. Those are your top 10 underachievers for week number 3. Go check us out for our other episode, overachievers for week 3. You can also check me out in a day or two for I Told You So. Just letting you guys know how I fared off on my top 5 starts and top 5 sits. It's your boy Hot Soup, and I'm signing out. 1.